Meeting your twin flame is completely different to any other kind of relationship you'll have in this world. We go through certain stages throughout the twin flame journey, and this can differ for each individual because each twin flame journey is unique. Some twin flames go through all the stages, some go through them in different orders, some go through the stages and repeat some stages. Other twin flames can be in union before even going through any of these stages and stay in union throughout these stages. So it does differ from person to person. But I'm going to explain a few of the stages that have related to my journey and have related to other journeys that I've seen. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So with this twin flame journey or meeting your twin flame, it is absolutely otherworldly. It is completely different to anything that you'll ever have experienced in the 3D before. It won't be like any relationship that you've ever known. So the first stage is the yearning. This is before you ever meet your twin. Now with your twin flame, you're connected on the 5D all the time anyway. So your souls have always been connected. But because of conditioning, because of our environment, because of certain relationships that we have already been in, we cannot feel this connection because we're not spiritually awakened, because we're not connected to our souls. And we don't understand what we're seeing or hearing or feeling. So before we actually, say after a lot of traumatic relationships and toxic relationships, we can go through this yearning stage. And the way it was for me is this knowing that I wanted more. This knowing that true love could exist. This knowing that I wanted something deeper and not like the toxic relationships that I experienced in the past. But just before I met my twin in the 3D, I went through this phase of knowing that love was going to come into my life, this knowing that my twin flame was going to come in. Now, I've been on a twin flame journey for a long time. I've known I was a twin flame for a long time. I've been connected to my twin flame on the 5D for a long time. I went through a catalytic experience so that I could learn about twin flames and to better prepare me for the actual experience. So before my twin flame came in, I could feel him very strongly. And I could feel that something was coming. I could feel that love was coming into my life. But I just didn't know in what form because I had been so confused about my journey up until then. But I just had this knowing that there was something going to happen. So this is the first stage, the stage that you know that something big is going to come. You know that something full of love is going to come into your life. You can just feel this love building within you. And for me as well, this build-up was a few weeks before, but also the morning of meeting my twin, I felt this. My soul knew something was going to happen. My soul was preparing. I was doing things differently that morning, and I was like, "What are you doing? What are you like? This is weird." And also, before actually first meeting, the first phone call when I heard his voice, my soul just knew something. It was pre-recognition. It was like I recognized him before I saw him physically. I recognized his soul through his voice, through that phone call. So there's that pre-recognition, that pre-knowing, that knowing that it's going to come. Then there's the next stage where you actually meet in the 3D. You meet physically. And there's that instant recognition, that feeling of familiarity, the feeling that you've known this person before. And it was crazy for me because I'd been unavailable for such a long time. So like I wasn't seeking to meet anyone. I knew my twin flame was coming, but I wasn't seeking to meet anyone in the 3D. If anyone had approached me through Facebook or anything like that, no interest. I identified as unavailable because I was doing my healing and I wasn't interested in anyone. So when I did meet him and for this kind of feelings to come up, these recognition, this familiarity, this urge, this attraction, this shocked me. But this was actual proof that I'd known his soul before. The next stage then is when you get to know that person, or when you want to get to know that person, there's this magnetism, there's this intensity. You just want this person in your life, this feeling that you just want to know them more, the feeling that you want to see them again. Now this can be very intense. And when we go through this phase, this can last like a short time or a long time, but this phase can lead to soul shock. this phase can be so intense because the feelings start coming in. You start to remember you're in love with this soul. And this can be very intense to the 3D mind, the 3D body, because we're not used to that. And that's the thing, like, you know, we have so many blocks from our previous traumas that we don't understand what's happening. And this can be scary, especially for the unawakened twin. Usually there is one twin that is awakened and understanding. So, you know, I recognized it for what it was, whereas the unawakened twin goes into soul shock. This leads to separation, but can also lead to the runner-chaser phase. The reason this happens is not just because of the intensity of the feelings, it's also because you're seeing your mirror soul. You're seeing yourself in this other person. So you're seeing your flaws in this other person. You're seeing your triggers, and then all your old wounds and traumas come up to the surface for you to heal. And this can lead to blame. And this is why the runner runs as well, is because it's like, why is this person making me vulnerable? Why is this person making me feel this way? Why is this all happening? And for the awakened twin, for me personally, like, you know, I knew I take my triggers as my guide. So anything I was triggered for, I was grateful for, because it led me to another heart awakening, and it led me to more healing, which I understood. But for the unawakened twin, this can lead to the soul shock. And this leads to them running and pulling themselves back. You know, and like initially they're all in, and then all of a sudden they pull back. They start to go a little bit quieter. They start to draw back, or maybe ghost you a little bit. This is because they don't understand what's happening. They don't understand that this is a soul connection, and they don't understand the healing process. So the next phase is, as I said, that's the healing and the separation. But you see, when we're initially in that stage, we have a lot of anger and resentment. We can have a lot of fear-based energy as well. And this phase can be very painful. You know, we have so much to uncover and heal within ourselves. We are not used to this. And this can lead to, as I said, resentment or blame towards your other twin. But after a while, you start to understand the process. And this is the surrender stage. This is the process where you actually surrender the connection to divine. You actually understand that the triggers are for a reason. You actually understand that this healing is for a reason. You start to understand that your healing and your growth is what is going to lead to you coming into unconditional love for yourself, but also unconditional love for everything and everyone around you, and for your twin flame. You remember that love. But the surrender stage is so important, because you have to kind of let go. You have to let go of the chasing as well. If you're the chaser, you have to let go of the hold that you have, because the more that you run after your twin, or the more that you put your energy into your twin, the longer it will take for a reunion to happen. It repels it in a sense. It makes it longer. It makes it the time longer. The whole objective of the separation phase, the whole objective of twin flames in general, is to heal your wounds, heal your traumas, and heal what's inside you, and come to a place of unconditional love for yourself. This is what it's all about. This is the main purpose of twin flames, is to love yourself fully, so that you can better be of service to this planet and guide others into unconditional love as well. So this is where you accept that it's out of your control. You surrender that control to the universe. You understand that this is happening in divine timing, but it cannot happen unless you do that healing. This can lead into the illumination stage. Now, the surrender and illumination stage are quite similar, and this is kind of where I'm at the minute. The illumination stage is where you completely understand that you're not separate, that your soul is always connected to your twin, that you're always together. This is where you can feel their presence all the time. This is where you can see the signs all the time of their name coming up, or they're in your dreams. This is where you have this knowing that union is inevitable. Reunion is inevitable. You have this knowing and this understanding that it's going to happen. No matter how long it takes, it's going to happen. And I'm kind of back and forth between the surrender and the illumination stage at the minute. Like 1 minute I'm full of that divine love, and 1 minute I'm full of that doubt. This is where my mind is going at the minute. And that's the problem. And that's proof that we have more healing to do. When you have any doubts about your twin flame connection, or, doubts about it happening, this is your stuff. This is your fear. This is what's inside you that still needs healing. And that's what we need to understand throughout the surrender, with the separation phase, but with the surrender and the illumination phase, is that anything that comes up, any fears, any doubts, any insecurities, this has nothing to do with your actual connection and everything to do with you. This is a guide for you to understand that you still have more healing to do. And that's the beauty of it. Like, every trigger, every emotion, every doubt, every fear is all a guide to what's inside you that still needs to be released. And we have to do that healing before we can come into reunion. And it's all with us, and that's when, like, within these stages as well, that's when the jealousy comes up, the fears come up, that you're worried your twin is going to choose someone else, and all that kind of stuff comes up. But this is still all to do with you. Any kind of jealousy, any kind of fear-based energy, any kind of doubts, this is what's inside you that needs to be healed. We need to get a place to the proper stage where we just know. We just know our twin is for us. We know that it's going to happen. We don't know when. We don't care when. And that's the beauty of it as well. You release attachment to the outcome. That's the illumination stage. You release attachment to the outcome. You no longer are fixated on when it's going to happen. Whereas, before you surrender, when you're in the initial anxiety, the fear of separation, you're kind of so fixated. You're like, when are they coming back? When are they coming back? And then you're like, if you're not getting contact on the 3D, you're fixated on that. You're like, if I don't see it with my eyes, it's not real. But with the illumination stage, you have to start to believe it with your mind's eye. See it with your mind's eye. Believe it with your intuition. Trust your intuition. Stop fixating on what's happening in the 3D. Forget about that. If there's no contact, forget about that. There is contact through your souls. In the astral plane, you are always connected to your twin flame, so you're not truly separated. And when you come to that place of acceptance, when you come to that knowing and that trusting within yourself, when you've healed those fears and your doubts, that's when union will come closer. But it's any of those fears that keep creeping back in, that's your attachment to the outcome. You need to release that. You need to heal that part of yourself and heal those wounds within yourself. And that's what it is. Like, we have to get to a place where we're completely in the 5D mentality. With the fear, that's your ego mind. That's the 3D mentality. That's not trusting in the outcome. And that's the beauty of divine timing, divine connections, divine orchestration with any part of your life, not just with love. You have to trust. It's our fear that keeps us stuck. It's our fear that delays things. It's our worry about stuff that we don't need to worry about. We have to understand that with twin flame love, it's not like what we've experienced. It's not going to be traumatic, abusive, toxic like we've experienced. It's otherworldly. And once we heal our own shit, the divine union, it's going to be, it's hard. Obviously, with twin flames, it's always going to be hard. There's always going to be triggers. There's always going to be stuff to work on. But when you're at that level where you understand your triggers are your guides, you understand that your triggers are there to help you heal, you're mature enough to understand that even in relationship, this is all healthy. And you work on these things either separately or together. Your past isn't going to repeat yourself. And I think the biggest thing we need to heal within ourselves is the fear of the past repeating itself. We are not used to these soul connections. So we're still getting used to it with the awakening as well. That's the whole thing as well. We're triggered into spiritual awakening. We're triggered into this soul growth, this truth, and we're shedding this stuff from the past. And it's overcoming the fear of the past repeating itself and trusting that this is divine connection is the hardest part. It's trusting what we can't see. It's believing before we see instead of seeing to believe. So that is the hardest part on your last couple of stages, is to overcome that fear, to overcome those doubts. And that's what it is. And it's the unworthiness like we have felt in the past. It's that inner stuff that we need to heal. And that's the beauty of the guides, is that this fear that we're still feeling about union not happening or about it never going to happen or about the past repeating itself, that's stuff within us that we still need to shed and heal. And that's what we need to concentrate on. We need to let go of the outcome, not care about when it's going to happen, understand that any kind of fears that are still coming up are ours to heal, ours to let go. And then we come into that complete illumination where we just trust. We just know that it's on its way. We know that it's just around the corner, and we know that we have nothing to fear and doubt. This is the beauty of it. And then after illumination, that's reunion. But we need to come into full surrender, full acceptance, heal those fears, heal those doubts, understand that it's inevitable, understand that it's divine, and understand that it's coming no matter what. We just need to do that inner work, trust that our healing is going to bring it in quicker, and trust that we don't have anything to fear. Don't worry about what's happening on the 3D, and trust what you feel in your heart and soul. Trust your intuition, but trust your soul, because this is the truth. What you feel within you is real, and what you see or fear is actually false. What your soul knows is the truth. And once you can learn to trust that, that will bring in union a lot quicker. So as I said, a lot of these stages, they're different for everyone. Not all twin flames go through them, and some of them only go through some of them and some don't go through others. It all depends on your journey, and because every journey is unique. But the whole objective is, and what most twin flames have to do, whether they're doing the work together or separately, is heal those wounds, heal those traumas, and release the past. The past is not going to repeat itself once you heal from it. Once you overcome those fears, and once you start trusting your soul, trusting your intuition, and trusting that this is divinely orchestrated, that it can't go wrong, and that the past is the past. The past will not repeat itself because the twin flame connection is unique. It's otherworldly, it's a soul connection. You cannot have the toxicity and trauma of the narcissistic relationships you've been in because you have done the healing required to come into this divine, unconditionally loving union. So trust the process, whatever stage you're in. Trust that each stage happens for a reason, and trust that each is a part of your healing and growth. Separation is preparation, surrender is acceptance, and illumination is trust. Trust that it's on its way, and trust that it is divinely guided and will come to you in divine timing when you are both ready. So trust the process and trust yourself. Trust your soul and trust your intuition. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path.